Hello, I'm Antonio Mora. This is the newsandnews.com Day in Brief. Today's top stories in 4 minutes. It's Friday, September 21st at about 6:30 p.m. The bombshell of the day came from a New York Times article that claims Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein suggested last year that he secretly record President Trump in order to expose the chaos at the White House. The article further claims that Rosenstein discussed recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Trump as unfit for office. Rosenstein quickly denied the charges, saying it was, quote, inaccurate and factually incorrect. I will not further comment on a story based on anonymous sources who are obviously biased against the department and are advancing their own personal agenda. He added, quote, let me be clear about this. Based on my personal dealings with the president, there is no basis to invoke the 25th Amendment. Have we ever seen so many conflicting reports and statements in American political history? I'm being rhetorical. On to the next one of those. I hesitate to talk about the Kavanaugh confirmation battle because the story changes every half hour. Trump changed his tune today and started more aggressively defending Kavanaugh and questioning why his accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, waited 36 years to allege she was sexually assaulted. White House aides had reportedly tried to restrain Trump from commenting. Professor Ford made a series of demands before she'd agreed to testify before the Senate, one of which that Kavanaugh testify first would violate basic due process. How does an accused answer an accuser whom he says he doesn't even know? Ford offered to testify on Thursday. The Senate Judiciary Committee countered with Wednesday and didn't accept most of her conditions. The deadline for her to accept has passed, so we wait. Both political parties are behaving in exactly the manner we've come to expect. No wonder Congress is about as popular as cockroaches. Majority Leader McConnell stated in no uncertain terms that Kavanaugh will be on the Supreme Court in the very near future. Then what's the point of hearing Ford? On the other side, multiple Democratic senators have already said with the same certainty that they believe Ford. How many of you would say that you firmly believed that someone you had never met or talked to was telling the truth about something that happened 36 years ago? What kind of example are these people, these so-called leaders, setting for our children? The consequences of all this will be far-reaching. Already the backlash has begun against public figures who may have any kind of sexual misconduct in their past or who may be associated with those who have misbehaved. Senator Cory Booker is facing questions over a column he wrote in 1992 where he admitted to groping a fellow teenager while in high school, even though the column called for sexual respect. And Senators Feinstein and Hirono, strong anti-Kavanaugh voices, are among Democrats who have been called out for accepting cash from former Senator Tom Carper's PAC because Carper admitted to hitting his wife. I'm telling you, this is just the beginning, for better or worse. With all the focus on Capitol Hill, most are ignoring the seemingly inexorable march toward a new Cold War. The U.S. sanctioned China for buying Russian fighter jets and missiles, which breaches U.S. sanctions on Russia. China expressed its indignation, threatening the U.S. that if it didn't withdraw the sanctions, it would have to, quote, bear the consequences. The U.S. also sanctioned 33 more Russians. The Kremlin warned the U.S. was playing with fire. The Kremlin, of course, would prefer to invade Crimea and shoot down airliners without reprisal. None of this seems to be affecting the equity markets. The Dow hit an all-time high for the second day in a row. In our alternate universes segment, the great divide between conservative and liberal media, news organizations are showing why their approval rating is only a bit better than that of Congress. Media on both sides have done partisan reporting that borders on the outrageous, with traditional reporting standards thrown out the window and gossip being treated as gospel. The number of supposedly objective reporters who have clearly taken sides is mind-boggling. A few examples. NBC News decided to go with a social media post from a former schoolmate of Ford's who said Ford's story was true, even though she admitted she didn't know Ford. The schoolmate's story ended up actually contradicting Ford's own timeline. None of that stopped NBC or many news organizations on the left from running with it. The Guardian claimed Yale law professor Amy Chua of Tiger Mother fame said it wasn't an accident Kavanaugh's female clerks all looked like models. It buried the fact that there was no allegation that women were chosen for their looks or that they weren't qualified. And Chua not only adamantly denied saying it, she had written an editorial 2 months ago endorsing Kavanaugh and praising him for being a mentor to women. On the right, Drudge and other sites went with the story trashing Ford as a professor. Oops, it was a different Christine Ford. And why would her teaching ability matter anyway? A conservative columnist in the Washington Post raised the possibility that Ford may be confused and that it was a doppelganger of Kavanaugh's who assaulted her. Fox News went further, reporting on a conservative activist's tweet that identified a specific Kavanaugh classmate. Quickly debunked as well. You can get sued for that kind of irresponsible reporting. And gossip becomes gospel again in the partisan news world, where reporters will jump on anything that confirms their bias rather than doing serious reporting. It's just awful. Finally, Ronan Farrow, whose courageous and dogged reporting on Harvey Weinstein won him a Pulitzer Prize, and most recently uncovered the misconduct allegations against former CBS chairman Les Moonves, has been named to the Hollywood Reporter's most powerful list. Weinstein and Moonves, nowhere to be found. We have all those stories and much more updated around the clock 7 days a week on newsandnews.com, where you will find all you need to know in one place. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the right of your screen just below this video. Please follow us on Facebook at Real News and News, and please follow me on Twitter at AmoraTV. I'll see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend.